Greetings tech and gaming fans, Edgerunners is back with the latest updates you don't want to miss. In today's episode, Dawid from Dawid Does Tech Stuff flashed the Radeon RX 9070 BIOS and the results are impressive. RTX 5060 Ti benchmarks show a solid performance boost over the RTX 4060 Ti, and Baldur's Gate 3 will get its 8th major update. In addition, AMD Zen 5 processors are affected by a serious microcode flaw, but a fix has been released, and more. Prepare a cup of your favorite tea, settle in, and let's kick things off. First up, a few days ago, Tech Media shared an interesting experiment where a user from the PCGH forum flashed the BIOS of their Radeon RX 9070 with the BIOS from the RX 9070 XT, resulting in a performance boost in synthetic tests. Dawid from Dawid Does Tech Stuff decided to replicate this experiment and test how the BIOS modification would affect gaming performance. He used an Asus Prime Radeon RX 9070 for testing. The process required a programmer that supports 1.8-volt BIOS chips, and the blogger was only able to successfully flash the card on his second attempt. Despite this, GPU-Z continued to recognize the card as a Radeon RX 9070. However, the GPU did see a significant increase in clock speeds and TDP, reaching up to 320 watts in power consumption, with clock speeds hitting 3000 MHz during gaming loads. The flash led to a noticeable boost in frame rates in Cyberpunk 2077. In stock form, the card achieved around 118 frames per second, but after the flash, the frame rate increased to 148 frames per second. The blogger didn't stop there and further boosted the performance by undervolting and overclocking the memory, by reducing the GPU voltage by 120 millivolts and increasing the VRAM frequency to 2800 MHz. The average frame rate in Cyberpunk 2077 reached 153 frames per second, a 28% increase over the stock performance. Would you try flashing a GPU BIOS for a 28% performance boost, or too risky? Share your thoughts in the comments. AMD has confirmed that its latest Zen 5 processors are affected by the critical entry sign vulnerability previously discovered by Google researchers in earlier Zen 1 through Zen 4 architectures. The entry sign flaw involves a bug in AMD's microcode signature verification process. Normally, the system should only load microcode updates that are digitally signed by AMD. However, this vulnerability allows attackers to bypass the check and run unauthorized code. The affected Zen 5 processors include the Ryzen 9000 series, Ryzen AI 300 series, 9000HX mobile chips, and EPYC 9005 server processors. AMD has released an urgent fix for desktop and mobile users, the combo AM5 1.2 0.3c firmware update, which patches the vulnerability. At this time, there is no equivalent fix available for EPYC processors. Microsoft has published a new video related to the upcoming release of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on PlayStation 5. The game will be available on these platforms starting April 17th, 2025. Players who purchase the deluxe edition will receive early access on April 15th. The title will be released in both digital and physical formats. The physical edition will include a full Blu-ray disc with the game, not just a download code. However, an internet connection will still be required for activation or updates. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is developed by Machine Games. According to the developers, the project was inspired by well-known games in the action-adventure genre, as well as the classic 1992 point-and-click game Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. Do you prefer single-player or co-op adventure games? Let us know in the comments. During the Koji 10 podcast, game designer Hideo Kojima confirmed that Death Stranding 2 on the Beach is 95% complete. He is currently personally testing the game, and most of the work is already finished ahead of release. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach is scheduled to launch on June 26, 2025 for PlayStation 5. After its release, Kojima Productions will complete development on the narrative horror game OD and then fully shift focus to the next project, the spy action game Pheasant. According to Kojima, Pheasant will mark a new phase for the studio. The game aims to blur the line between cinema and video games. It is expected to release on the next generation PlayStation, possibly PlayStation 6. Early synthetic test results for the GeForce RTX 5060 Ti have surfaced, showing significant performance improvements over its predecessor, the RTX 4060 Ti, particularly in Vulkan and OpenCL benchmarks. According to Geekbench, the RTX 5060 Ti was tested at a clock speed of 2647 MHz with 16 GB of video memory. In the Vulkan benchmark, the new card scored 140,147 points, outperforming the RTX 4060 Ti, which scored around 122,500 points, marking a 14% performance boost between generations. In OpenCL testing, the RTX 5060 Ti achieved 146,234 points, surpassing the RTX 4060 Ti's 129,894 points, showing a 13% performance advantage. The GeForce RTX 5060 Ti is expected to launch on April 16, 2025, in both 8 and 16 GB configurations, with an estimated price of $400 for the 8 GB model and $500 for the 16 GB version. Would you upgrade just for more VRAM? Let us know in the comments. Larian Studios, the developers of Baldur's Gate 3, have officially announced the release date for the game's 8th major patch. The update will be available on April 15th. Previous numbered patches have introduced significant changes such as new endings and an epilogue. Patch 8 continues this trend by adding a photo mode and 12 new subclasses, one for each of the game's 12 base classes, offering new development paths and abilities for all character types. In addition to the new features, the update will include various gameplay fixes. Larian may release smaller updates afterward if any issues with the new subclasses arise. However, this will be the final major update for Baldur's Gate 3, as the studio has confirmed multiple times that no further large-scale patches are planned. Unfrozen has released a cinematic trailer for the upcoming turn-based strategy game Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era. The video showcases battles between various in-game factions and confirms the game's release window. Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era is scheduled to launch in summer 2025, initially in early access on Steam. At launch, players will have access to 6 playable factions, a non-linear story campaign, randomly generated scenarios, and competitive multiplayer. The game serves as a prequel to the classic Heroes titles, with events set on the planet Enroth, a familiar setting for fans of the first 3 entries in the series. Interest in the game is high, with over 500,000 Steam users having already added it to their wish lists. Crotum has released a remake of its well-known 2014 puzzle game, now titled The Talos Principle Reawakened. The game is available on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. Built on Unreal Engine 5, the remake features gameplay improvements, new puzzles, and an additional story chapter titled In the Beginning. This new content focuses on the first simulation tests conducted by Alexander Drennan, who seeks answers to fundamental questions about life. The game also introduces a puzzle editor, allowing players to create and share their own challenges. Thanks for watching our latest gaming and tech roundup. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content. Would you try flashing a GPU BIOS for a 28% performance boost, or too risky? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.